Have you ever attempted to unravel the paradoxical enigma of original sin? This ancient belief, deeply rooted in numerous Christian doctrines, asserts that humans are innately sinful, carrying the stain of our forefathers Adam and Eve's disobedience from inception. However, the concept is riddled with pressing, unanswerable queries. Why does original sin exist? Is it because Adam sinned? Then why did Adam sin? If the serpent was the catalyst, why did the serpent sin? If the serpent was a fallen angel, why did the angel sin? These puzzling questions vehemently challenge the concept of original sin and expose its fundamental flaws. We're compelled to explore another closely related conundrum. If evil did not exist before Adam's transgression, how could he understand the gravity of his actions? How could he discern that defying God was sinful? This query is especially intriguing as it implies the existence of the knowledge of good and evil before Adam and Eve's disobedience, an idea that contradicts the very foundation of original sin. Supporters of original sin assert that Adam and Eve's disobedience in the Garden of Eden introduced sin into the world. They defied God's explicit command and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thus engendering sin, a spiritual malaise that has plagued humanity throughout history. This concept, deeply ingrained in biblical narratives, has been fortified by influential theologians over the centuries. Yet, as we delve into this enduring debate, we must scrutinize the profound flaws and contradictions that these probing questions expose. We read in the book important questions about the Trinity, unity, and incarnation, prepared by the servants of the house of God's love, reviewed by Father Abdel Messeh Basit, Pier 38. There is a difference between Adam's sin, which is knowing evil after his nature had never known evil, and the sin of murder or theft, which are personal sins. Adam's sin made human nature know sin after its nature was holy, and did not know evil and sin. In another section, the same book reaffirms, Adam's nature was corrupted after eating from the tree. From this, we understand that human nature before eating from the tree did not know evil, and eating was the main cause of knowledge and inclination towards evil. Henry Chadwick conveys in his book, Introduction to Augustine, Pier 47, the nature that God granted to humanity was good. Adam had a pure nature before the fall, and Christ in his resurrection also had a pure nature that the rest of humanity cannot attain now. Severus of Antioch, in his response to Autolycus translated by Adel Zayatir, Pn 80, says, there is nothing in the fruit except knowledge, and knowledge is good if used correctly. In his actual age, Adam was in the age of an infant. Hence, he was not able to acquire knowledge properly, because at this present time, when a child is born, he cannot eat properly. Hence, knowledge was a characteristic of the tree's fruit, further emphasizing that the central premise of original sin, the inherent sinful nature of humanity, is fundamentally flawed and requires critical examination. Indeed, the concept of original sin is laden with a myriad of inconsistencies and contradictions. A critical review of the doctrine reveals a fundamental flaw in its premise. The assertion that Adam, initially recognized as the embodiment of purity, could defy God's command presents an inherent contradiction. This suggests that the pristine, untainted nature of Adam already harbored an element of evil, a possibility that challenges the premise of his initial purity and innocence. Adding another layer of complexity to this paradox is the notion of free will. If Adam was created a virtuous being, devoid of any evil tendencies, then surely his decision to eat from the tree was not a product of his free will. And without the element of free will, can his actions truly be classified as sin? Moreover, the very core of the original sin doctrine has also been put under scrutiny. Why would an all-knowing, benevolent God place a tree in the garden of knowing its potential to instigate evil? This conundrum further intensifies the internal contradictions of the original sin concept, suggesting a paradoxical clash between divine omniscience and human fallibility. In essence, these counter-arguments illustrate the multifaceted contradictions inherent in the concept of original sin, casting a shadow of doubt over its logical and theological accuracy. The theory seems to be entangled in an endless loop of logical fallacies painting a picture of a proverbial chicken and egg scenario that further undermines the validity of the concept of original. In this exploration, we have grappled with the idea of original sin, an ancient belief that humanity is inherently sinful due to the transgressions of our earliest ancestors. We have considered arguments both in favor of and against this concept, focusing particularly on the sequence of events in the Garden of Eden. Supporters of the concept of original sin assert that Adam and Eve's disobedience brought sin into the world, tainting all subsequent generations. Critics, however, point out a logical paradox in this belief, arguing that Adam could only have disobeyed God if he was already sinful, which challenges the notion that his disobedience was the original sin. So we're left contemplating the paradox of original sin. It's a debate that stretches back centuries and continues to engage theologians, philosophers, and thinkers today. This discourse reminds us of the complexity of theological concepts and the importance of questioning and examining our beliefs. It's a journey of understanding that, much like the quest for knowledge in the Garden of Eden, may lead us to unexpected and profound insights. In the Christian faith, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is often touted as a divinely ordained event that erases the inherent sinfulness of humankind, returning us to our primordial, unblemished state. However, a critical review of this theological concept reveals a paradox that is indeed thought-provoking. This pure, innocent state, void of knowledge of evil, is ironically the same state that led to the commission of the first sin, as per Christian belief. This casts a shadow of doubt on the wisdom behind such a monumental sacrifice. The original state, although having never committed a virtuous act, is supposedly pure. On the other hand, the fallen nature of humanity, sullied by the original sin, has the capacity for both virtue and vice, and has gratefully accepted the sacrifice of Christ. This renders the crucifixion a seemingly paradoxical event. It strives to return humanity to a state that has already been shown to be prone to error, a state which in fact committed greatest sin according to Christian tradition. Considering this, one must question the purpose of God's sacrifice to restore humans to a state susceptible to error. It almost seems counterintuitive. Why would a divine entity make such a sacrifice to revert humanity to a state that was flawed in the first place? This critique only serves to amplify the debate surrounding the concept of original sin and underscores the complexities inherent in theological discourse.